As yet, no details have been released for the plans for the Duke's funeral, but we expect an announcement to be made by the Palace tomorrow. This evening, we have reflected on the extraordinary life and work of the Duke of Edinburgh. My thanks to all our guests who have been sharing some personal insights and memories about the Duke. Stay with us now on BBC One for a special commemorative programme on the Duke of Edinburgh. But from all of us here, good night.
I have very fond memories of my sittings with him. He's a fascinating person to talk to. Not just talking about pictures, but
look like these things in that situation. They were kind of maybe sort of Tees and those sort of people, and they were really pretty good.
As a young man, engaged to the young Princess Elizabeth, he would stay at Windsor Castle, and he said that lights out when the family had retired for the night, to look at the pictures. What made the time he was sharing, not just time, but actually intellect, a passion, his enthusiasms. And there was an openness in the man that probably took me by surprise.
Pretty incredible, really, because he obviously didn't take it up till after he'd finished playing polo, so he must have been 50 plus. You need incredible dexterity and mental agility. I take my hat off to him, really. Prince Philip always claimed that he did it for fun, but he was the most competitive. When he was in the competition, he really did think he was up to win it. He was always keen to know how you were going to tackle a certain option, and he kept a firm check on the scores and was always pleased when he beat me. I think he just loved the eclectic group of people that we are. I mean, it was like a mobile weekend party. You toured the country, met up with all the same people. I really feel he could just relax his guard, be himself and join in on a very level playing field. And you didn't have any idea who the person next to you, what their background was, and I think he enjoyed that.
What do you want to see me about?
Because you want to play film.
Well, you've come to the right place.
It was suggested I should take on some sort of charity, and the National Playing Fields Association gave me some connection with the recreational life in the country, and it turned out to be very valuable.
Helping out, leading the way. The link between the royal family and charitable causes was largely forged by the Duke.
People started saying, will you come do this, will you come do that? And that accumulated and snowballed. I mean, you wouldn't believe it.
Connecting with a world far removed from his own, promoting the cause of self-improvement, be it 60 years ago or in the 21st century. Creating opportunities, whatever the obstacles. The Duke in his lifetime was involved with over 800 organisations, from the Variety Club of Great Britain to the Worldwide Fund for Nature.
As we all try to cope with our human problems, it's easy to forget that we are not the only living beings on this planet.
One cause particularly dear to him bears his name, the Duke of Edinburgh's Award, recognising self-reliance, service, bravery. The Duke's invitation to young people to go out and do something. Things of interest in the great outdoors in the early days. And what made him chuckle more recently? The D.O.V. Award, stretching people, giving them a boost, and appreciated at the very top.
You had the insight, courage and determination to establish the award scheme 50 years ago. Since then, under your watchful eye, over 5 million young people have taken up the challenge. For these remarkable achievements, you have my deep and enduring admiration. An admiration which words alone can never fully express.
Wildlife, conservation, the environment. Pressing issues now debated on the global scale. But it took years of determined effort to make them so, and the Duke was at the forefront of that work.
What I'm trying to do, in a small way, is to try and prevent the extinction of wild species, in the hope that at some stage they might have a space to exist on this planet.
In 1961, he co-founded what became the world's largest independent conservation body.
The reason for the change of the name of the World Wildlife Fund to the Worldwide Fund for Nature was to make it clear that we were involved not just in animals, but in plants as well.
For well over half a century, he was a hands-on campaigner, pushing governments, encouraging at every level.
It's people as managers, as administrators, as workers, as tourists, as professionals, as designers, every sort of, and in every respect, when they're doing their work, is to bear in mind the effect that it's going to have on the natural environment, on the conservation of species.
To drive home the message that action had to be taken quickly, he had to be frank about the root cause of it all.
We really ought to have a sense of moral responsibility for the survival of other species, because we have such a tremendous influence on them. We can decide now whether a species is going to survive or become extinct. You cannot exploit all the natural resources for human use and expect to have a great deal of future.
Action did follow. National parks were opened, environmental controls were tightened, laws introduced, species saved.
I think one's got to be optimistic in the sense that there'd be no point in doing anything if you simply said there was no point in trying. I think there is a point in trying. I think that the important thing is to try and get it through to as many people as possible what is actually happening.
The Duke as a pathfinder to an age of greater understanding about matters always dear to his heart. It was the Duke's mission to combine tradition with the promotion of a forward-looking monarchy, to communicate using the latest technology. He fully supported televising the Queen's coronation in 1953, moving pictures from London that would be seen around the world. "16 years later, in 1969, he invited the cameras deeper into royal life, to see the family from the inside.
I remember when I used to come up to Royal Lodge, I asked when I arrived and I said, "Where's the king?" And they said, "Oh, he's in the garden." And I went out and there's nothing to be seen except a lot of terribly rude words and language coming out of a rhododendron bush.
He broke new ground by appearing in front of the cameras as a presenter.
At midnight tonight, the greatest concerted effort ever made to observe and record the detailed facts of our world will commence.
40 minutes to get round the world. Well, it's going to be a bit of a rush. It may leave you a little bit muddled, but I don't think it matters very much.
He also took to the media as a campaigner.
We've got to make the best use of the skill and the brains of the people, and we know perfectly well that the people in this country have got a remarkable talent for things if they learn how to do them. We ought to make the best use of that.
One particular branch of science appealed to him. Engineering held the key to just about everything.
Everything that wasn't invented by God is invented by an engineer.
He promoted the production of clean, sustainable energy. He was the senior fellow of the Royal Academy of Engineering that he helped found in 1976. He launched the Prince Philip Designers Prize and was the head of the judging panel for over 50 years, rewarding elegant scientific solutions. Technology he admired in the outside world, he brought into the royal household, here upgrading communications with an intercom system.
I can't get there except if I fly, is that right?
It's theoretically possible. It's a 3-hour drive, police cars.
He was a pioneer when it came to transport, an early user of fuel less damaging to the environment. So much of royal life is about pageantry, ceremony, tradition and the past. The Duke of Edinburgh always kept an eye on the future.
The Duke came in from Mombasa and joined the Royal Yacht. I think the purpose was to go to all these little islands and to remind these people that they were part of the Commonwealth as well. It was great fun to be on board, and everyone was all chums together and work hard, but also play hard, you know, despite the rank and everything else. This was 1956, Christmas Day, down in the Antarctic, and the Duke of Edinburgh took all the time to walk around all the mess decks and meet the yachties. We started a beard growing competition, and you can just see the little 7 o'clock shadow on the Duke. We have a tradition in the Navy to give certificates, one for crossing the equator, one for the Arctic Circle, and one for the Antarctic Circle. We hadn't had any printed, so the Duke of Edinburgh made a certificate out of lino for everybody on board. And there it is. Absolutely brilliant.